one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because what I've been seeing on the internet, especially on TikTok and Instagram, because you guys send me a lot of different videos, are people looking to transition over from those platforms over to YouTube, right? And the reason that they're looking to transition from those platforms over to YouTube is because A, they don't want to be independent or interdependent on TikTok and all these other platforms to have their followers and their creators and things like that. And they're trying to figure out where the money is. Now, we all know that they're a little late to the game. And I'm starting to see a lot of people put out bad information. 9 out of 10 people that I see on these platforms giving information when it comes to transitioning over YouTube is giving wrong and false information. And they saying, oh, it's easy. You could build a following similarly to how you built TikTok. Nope. It's for the big boys over here. This is for the big boys over here. But I want to tell y'all what inspired me, because a lot of them are being inspired by the money. I wasn't necessarily inspired by the money, but I was inspired a little bit differently to really take what I was doing seriously, which then translated into what you see happening today. And the thing that really translated for me, ironically enough, was my daughter, right? My daughter, I'm just going to tell you, the value that she's brought into my life, I can't measure it. I can't understand for the life of me why people don't participate in their children's lives. Why, when they have children, it doesn't push them to be better versions of themselves. Because I will tell you, like, you can't really measure it, the value that she's brought into my life, because A, has motivated me to be better. And then B, on top of that, she's given me so much insight. And y'all really need to start listening to people and listening to your kids and listening to the people that you trust the most, because I've made her, I groomed her, I've given her the insight. And so she sees things that I don't see because she comes from a completely different lens, right? And even when she was little, I remember when she was little, her and I was sitting in the kitchen, we was having a conversation, and this had to be at least 10 years ago. It had to be somewhere around 7 to 10 years ago, probably around 10 years ago, right? 9, 10 years ago or something like that, if I just had to guess. And me and her was sitting there and we were talking and we was having a conversation, and she said, Dad, can you get me these tickets? And I said, get you tickets to what? What you got going on? She said, oh, I can't wait to go see DeArra Ken. DeArra Ken. I don't mind giving people their props, and I don't mind just being 100% transparent, because that's what my life is, right? My whole life is being transparent and being honest about how I came to be who I am, because I'm documenting the journey, even here on the Millionaire Morning Show. And a lot of y'all may not be familiar with DeArra and Ken, but DeArra and Ken are huge, huge content creators. I don't know who they are today. And the reason that I'm even having this conversation is because she brought up to me that they had broke up and all of this stuff. But DeArra and Ken was like this young teenage couple, young, super young couple that was creating content together, and they was bringing a platform together. Now, again, I heard that they wind up being a little bit dusty, and she went on and they got divorced after they got married and all of this stuff. But they were a super young couple. But she was like, Dad, this was like 9, 10 years ago. She said, can you get me tickets to go see DeArra and Ken? And I'm like, who is DeArra and Ken? I'm thinking that it's some singers or something like that. And she was like, no, they YouTubers. They YouTubers, look. And so she started showing me all of their stuff or whatever. And you know me, my wheels go to spinning. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What do you mean they YouTubers? And they touring? What you going to see? DeArra and Ken? She said, yeah, they coming to Michigan. They coming to Detroit, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, can you get me the VIP tickets and all of that? I said, what is going on? You know, we used to singers and rappers and comedians and all of this stuff. And I said, what is happening? So I get her the tickets because, you know me, I'm a softie for my daughter. And more importantly, I wanted to see for myself. So we take her to go see DeArra and Ken, and they having dance offs or whatever. And it was so many young people and kids that was in there. And then I was also looking at how it was that they was building a platform and stuff like that. And I said to myself, if they can do it, I know it's a niche out here, because I got too much information, because it's not just about creating a platform in order to make money. I was like, I got too much value to add. I know too much. I know too much. I said, Leslie, how am I not famous? How am I not capitalizing off of it the same way today? She said, Dad, I don't know, because you're way better than everybody else. And I don't know if she was just filling my head or whatever, because my daughter is my biggest fan. However, I was just thinking to myself, this don't make no sense that I'm sitting here paying to take my daughter to go be entertained by somebody on YouTube. And that clicked for me. That was my wake up moment. That was my aha, wake up, grow up. Are you focused? Are you getting yourself together? Are you really dedicating yourself? That was my aha moment. I said, dog, ain't no way in the world that I should not be putting everything that I have after I get done with my businesses, after I get done with corporate America, that I should not be putting everything that I have into what it is that we build in here. I have way more value to add. And so I just started down the path. Started figuring it out. I had to understand it. I had to go and play the game. I had to go and see it. And I would often tap in with my daughter and the people that was around me and say, hey, give me your honest opinion. What do you like about this? What do you dislike about this? Oh, Dad, the audio was bad. Oh, Dad, I can't believe you did it like this. Oh, that was awesome. And you got to tap into the kids, man, because the kids, they will be brutally honest with you. They will tell you the honest to God truth. See, y'all be gassing me up. Y'all be trying to make it seem like every single thing that I do is awesome. No, y'all don't. Y'all be being awesome. Y'all be being honest with me. But the point that I'm making is that was my come to Jesus moment. That was my aha moment. And it was at that point that DeArra Ken convinced my daughter to get me to get some VIP tickets to go and see them in person. And that was like 19 years ago. That was the time that I decided that I wanted to go and document the journey and I wanted to start figuring out what this thing looks like. Because, we had always been observing it. I know for a long time, the people that now are on YouTube discounted it and was trying to act like, oh, you just a YouTuber? Yeah, I'm just a YouTuber. But that was my come to Jesus moment. That was my aha moment. That was when I figured out it's time to start getting it together and putting this thing in perspective and start having a conversation about how we going to do this going forward. That was it. It was through her, through my daughter, DeArra Ken. So I say that to say this. There's always going to be a ton of bad information out there. And nobody actually has the blueprint for what this thing is going to be going forward. There are those of us that have been doing it for a long time and we are inspired by it and we are great at what it is that we do. And even me, I am continuing to evolve and become a better version of myself when it comes to being a content creator. I mean, for God's sakes, I just built this studio, right? Or I just revamped this studio to be what it is today. But all I'm telling you is that you have to find something to inspire you, and you also need to surround yourself with people, even if it's the children, that will give you some insight on how you need to be doing things differently so you can then do what you got to do in order to run up a bag. And they don't even have to be with regard to content creation. It could be with regard to anything in your life. Whether you want to push yourself in corporate America, whether you want to start your business. Some people don't want to do businesses, and starting businesses may not be for everybody. Other people want to do certain things or whatever, so on and so forth, but you got to find your inspiration. For me, my inspiration always came through my daughter and the people that was around me. And she was giving me some insight yesterday that caused me to revamp some things. I had a conversation with her in the kitchen, and she was telling me some stuff, and I was like, I had another come to Jesus moment yesterday in the kitchen. I had a come to Jesus moment, and I said, "Oh, okay, all right." So I'm gonna have to start doing things differently. I'm getting my second win. I'm super inspired to deep dive and go all into it, and to really, really push myself harder than I ever have before. If you thought that you had seen the part of me that had already pushed, and you was like, "Oh, Anton, you just pushing yourself too much and all of this stuff," you ain't seen nothing, bro. Over this next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I promise you it's going to be insane. But anyways, with that being said, I appreciate everybody that's here. Thank you guys for tapping into the Millionaire Morning Show. We got an awesome show that's lined up for you guys today. I hope you buckled up into your seats. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And let's get it. Zeroy says, maybe I need a kid. No, you don't need a kid. You just need to find something that inspires you. Some people have a kid and they worse off and they worse people than they were before they had a kid. For me, it was motivation. So